Experience tranquility. Experience tranquility.
We're just going to start this over, folks. Pretend nothing happened. Everything is perfectly fine. Everything is perfectly fine. Let's just go with the flow, okay? And for the first time today, I am Ski Free Yeti. Welcome everyone to Season 3 Preview the Iris Podcast. Sorry about that one. It's not the Iris Podcast unless I immediately scuff it. So excited to be here, guys. Introducing the entire crew here that you see today. Normally Thuggington would be joining us, but unfortunately Thuggington is too busy doing rehearsals for his show Chicago that he is starring in. So big ups to him, but unfortunately he can't be here tonight. But we're going to go around the table and do quick introductions of everyone here. We'll start with myself. I am Ski for Yeti, for those of you who don't know, moderator for the Tranquility community and the captain of Team Karma. I've been part of the community for 3 seasons now, since Season 1, part of the original Fighting Potatoes, as well as Season 2 Meta Rejects, and now captain of Team Karma. Been doing the podcast now since the beginning of Season 2, and I do a lot of other random stuff that you probably see me post and at everyone about all the time. So that's me. Let's go directly above me here. That's NPC.
That's me. My name is NPC. I was on the 2-time back-to-back Tranquility runner-ups Team Gravity. I did not participate in the first season, but I was part of the Season 2 crew, and that was very fun. I'm also a moderator here. I'm a little bit less at everyone than Ski Free Yeti. I am not on a team. I am just kind of a floating sub. I'm also available if there's any issues during games. If you need anything, you can always ping me, and I'll be there and handle it.
All right, that's NPC, folks. We'll go directly to my left, and that is Ensol.
So yeah, I'm Ensol, Captain Evolution. I've been in the community since Season 1 with Solo Cup. May they rest in peace. Don't know what happened, but yeah.
You pour one out for Solo Cup.
Yep. So yeah, I've been here since Season 1. Part of the original. What was it? 8 teams. Season 1,
12, but then
12.
turned into 9.
My
So.
God. Now we're like
wow.
A lot. Yeah, but I've been here since Season 1. Captain Illusion, Season 2, Season 3. Yep.
We'll work on that audio here right now, and then directly to Kitty Corner for me is Specs. So Specs, go ahead.
All right, what's up, guys? Specs also been part of the community for all 3 seasons. Was on High Res the first season, which yikes. Then was on Sugar Rush last season. Best main tank in the community, obviously, and then captain and I guess off tank for Instalock now. Really excited for this season, and how we can get everything going, right?
Season 3 has been ramping up for a long time, guys. We doubled the size of the community from ending last season at 15 teams, and right now we are at 31 teams. For those of you who didn't know, it was 32. Unfortunately, the team Snow Day did end up dissolving due to some rostering issues. So right now we're at 15 teams in the Discord tier, 16 teams in the Harmony tier. Guys, it's amazing the growth that has gone in like 2.5 months. Incredible. Could not have been done without the amazing people in the community, and we're extremely grateful to have that have been working out as well as it has. But we're not going to waste any more time, because I don't know if you noticed, 31 teams to go through. We got a lot to cover today, guys. We're going to start off just with a really quick announcement. The team leadership was made aware of this decision, and decision was made regarding the 222 lock situation, and I'm going to leave that to NPC.
All right, so I wanted to address what's on everybody's mind, and we're going to talk about, here it is, the role lock. 222 is coming to Tranquility. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow what competitive does. The season 17 has been shortened a little bit, and at the end of that season on August 13th, they're actually going to introduce a beta season for comp, which is going to be 222 role lock, and everybody will have a chance to play and get their SRs locked in place for all 3 roles. So up until that time, there is no 222 lock. So during the preseason and for the first 2 seasons of the games, you can play whatever or 2 games of the season, you can do whatever you'd like, and then you can add someone to the roster, and their main SR will be calculated. But once August 13th rolls around and that patch hits, we are going to do 222 lock, and adding new players and players switching teams will be calculated on their highest SR of the 3. So whatever your best role is, that is what you're going to be calculated at for seasons. But for those first 2 weeks, the best thing is we get one last ride. We got one last ride.
Oh, what a comp.
2 weeks.
What a legend. So this is what you have to look forward to this season on the Iris podcast, folks. One last ride of goats and a lot of NPC ripping your shirt off. So a lot of excitement coming up here, guys. Again, 31 teams to go through. We're not going to waste any more time with shirts or anything like that. We're going to dive right into the Discord tier, and actually right back to NPC. You're going to start here with the Season 2 champion, and that is Otaku.
The Season 2 champions, Otaku. You know, the veteran player here is Yojak. He's the heart and soul of the team. He's brought in some new people. He's brought in some old people. He's really bringing that team together. Everybody on that team seems to respect him and his opinions, and I think they're definitely contenders. The 2 new players that really stand out to me are Key Limes. He's just got a tremendously positive attitude. He keeps things light, keeps things going, and Wah on just about every hit scan DPS. I mean, I saw a little bit of everything out there in that preseason tournament, and they did end up falling, but they had some roster issues, some people with attendance, they couldn't make it, that kind of thing. But I mean, just their tank line between Yojak and Key Limes. Yojak and I wrote down their other tank, but it's not there. Anyway, Key Limes is their support.
Panda.
Panda. Thank you, Panda. I wrote Key Limes up for support. Right now, I think Otaku is actually still looking for another DPS to kind of pair up with Wah to kind of get in there. They're looking for at least some like an overall flex and definitely a projectile, because Wah has hit scan covered. So they're gonna be starting fresh.
All right, so that is Otaku, your Season 2 champs, looking to repeat in Season 3. We're going to move actually to the team that is made from the remnants of the runner-up last season, Gravity, which is now the name of the Harmony tier team. This all makes sense, trust me. We're going to Eclipse, and that's you, Ensalt.
Yeah, so like you said, Gravity not necessarily disbanded, but divided into 2 rosters, kind of like my team did last season, making Eclipse. Speaking to or getting some information from the management, I guess, if you want to call it that, from the teams, someone that they really value in their team is Sleepy. She is a really good diva, huge bombs, good ability to negate enemy ultimates, so I think that's going to be huge for them. A player who I think and who they think falls under the radar is Bubbers. He is someone who does a lot for their team, a flexible player, and can really just do anything that the team needs. I think after going 2 seasons back-to-back runner-ups for this season, I think they're really gunning for that number 1 spot.
Mhm. Absolutely, no arguments here. Eclipse looking to be trying to kind of recoup from their early loss in the season tournament or the preseason tournament. Now we're going to go actually to a new team with some old faces, and that's Instalock. So Instalock was created by Specs, some guy. I don't know, and brought along a couple people with him initially. Was Cognitive Pit, who is not going to be playing this season, at least as of now. And then Sacred Walrus, the former Moira, who does have some other things that they're actually bringing to their hero. And that's actually what Specs pointed out as kind of the player that's going to sneak out kind of under the radar for this team. Is, you know, a lot of people looked at Sacred Walrus last season as a Moira one trick, and right now, you know, obviously Moira is getting some changes which will benefit her, but at the same time, you know, he is working to expand his hero pool significantly, so they're expecting him to be a great asset to that team. But with regards to what's going on with Instalock, they do have a tank line right now of Silent Monkey and Specs. Now, Silent Monkey was chosen by the community as the best main tank last season. So obviously there is a lot of respect for what Silent Monkey brought to Alt F4 last season. And there's a lot of high expectations for him coming into this season for the Discord tier for Instalock. So we expect to see some big things here from Silent Monkey trying to pair up with Specs. And then obviously there's Frozzy and Kuna, the DPS, and they're expecting a lot from Kuna, especially stepping into that hit scan role after being a main tank initially for the team. Picked up hit scan and they found out he could aim. So basically the goal for them right now is they're looking for a top 3, top 5 finish. So Instalock's looking to make some significant waves this season. We'll see if they can get it done. In the interim now, we're going to go over to an OG team to the Tranquility community, and that is Meteors. And Specs, you'll be bringing us Meteors.
Yeah, I mean, really looking at the roster for this team, it to me is probably one of the strongest. A lot of Ascension players here. You have Courage, you have HQC, you have Dunzo with as their coach. It's a fantastic roster. After talking to HQC a little bit, he said that Courage was really their biggest player that to look out for this season. His leadership, his flexibility, his ability to really keep morale high was huge, and that's something they've kind of used as a backbone. Is underrated is actually J-Vice. So he hasn't been playing in the preseason tournament at all. He just hasn't been able to due to some conflicts. So really kind of having that, card in the back of their pocket, be able to pull that out during the season is going to be huge for them. Like I was saying, their goal is to kind of go top 3 to win it all. They have a really solid roster from the top down. There's not really one player that's a weak link at this point. And they think they have a really good group of guys. They're happy to, play with each other, whether it's Overwatch or outside of it. So, that camaraderie is definitely huge for them.
Looking for Meteors to make a big impact this season. Another team, OG for Tranquility, is Aimbots, and Ensal, you were going to talk about them?
Yeah. So Aimbots, they picked up a couple of really good players, mainly Pastry, who is really good on support. That's just something I had to note. Actually, something that their captain as well noted. So their MVP, based on what he was telling me, is really going to be Pastry. Good comms. When they're lacking on certain roles or whatever it may be. Knowing the counter picks, skill set is amazing with all healers. Most underrated player, and I'm not sure if this is a little bit conceited, but listen, a bit of cockiness is good, was actually Savage. He felt that he was slept on a little bit last season, and I do agree. He plans on being one of the best main tanks in the season, this season, sorry. What they're aiming for is top 3. They have some teams that they're gunning for. They didn't want to reveal who. Got to keep some surprises, I guess. Right now they just really want to go the distance.
Aimbot's definitely looking to make an impact this season after falling just short of the playoffs on a huge run at the end of season 2. We're now going to go to a new team with old faces, and that is Invictus, and that's Specs. You were going to talk about Invictus.
Yeah, so Invictus, part of the wow, I'm forgetting their name. Illusion. They're
right here, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, but associated with Illusion. But this is a really solid squad that has some old faces that, no stranger to, winning some big games. And to me, their biggest strength is their support line. They're really solid. Just looking at their roster, the supports of Lemon Ghoul and Memorex are really solid along with Smirk. So I think it's important for those guys to really make sure they're, healing up the team and providing the space needed for their DPS and for their tanks to top off or to pop off. With tanks, Booth is one of the main guys to look out for here. John Wilkes Booth last season, the really good main tanks with some really good calls. I've listened to their comm structure before, and he, the way he leads a team and the way he's able to, kind of rally the troops behind him is super important. So with that there, I think he's a player to really look out for this season. Definitely one of the underrated tanks from last season as well. But really looking into what the team looks to succeed with, it's making the playoffs. They have a really solid roster that I think with time they're going to get really solid, and towards the end of the season you can definitely see them making a deep run in the playoffs.
All right, and we're going to move on now to Alt F4, and that is with NPC.
Alt F4, another veteran team from season 2. They took their veterans, they took some of their core players, and they kind of split them in half, and they brought a lot of them up into the Discord tier. Really, their veteran player that everybody's looking up to right now is O Stories. He's making plays. He's going to get talked about a lot more here, I think, this season than he did last season. He wasn't really mentioned a lot, but O Stories. Oh, Stories.
Oh, Stories.
He makes some plays. Something I've really paid a lot of attention to is their support lines. They brought in 2 supports, Daft and Poet. And these guys, they're like the Dragon Ball Z fusions, right? When they're together, it just amps up. You have no idea. And then they've got Unavailable as a support that kind of fills in for both, and it just completes that piece. So their strength right now is their support line. And if I had to pick their weakness at the moment, it's their tank line. Jet and Ghost, they're great tanks. They really are. But they really need a third person to kind of alleviate some of that pressure, especially with the roll lock coming up. They just can't keep putting in the same 2 every time. You're going to need somebody that's going to be able to fill in. So I think we're going to see a lot of good things out of Alt F4.
The Cardiac Cats from last season are Alt F4. We'll see if this season they can make it a little bit more of a convincing run this upcoming season in the Discord tier. Next up here is a brand new team to the community, and that is Majesty Ruby. They are a team brought in by Kogarashi, their captain, entirely new except for one, and that was somebody that Kogarashi made a point to point out to me, is Vexarath. Their support, just a really excellent support, has really increased their quality of play as a team, especially because of their work on Zenyatta and Baptiste. They've been really happy with what Vexarath has brought to that team. Vexarath, former Havoc support player, Rip Havoc. But they did make a point to bring out Air, A-E-R, as the player that they think is the player to watch for that team. They are a really incredible hit scan player. They play as well as many other heroes in addition to that. They're expecting big things out of Air, and is going to be the one to really help guide that team along as they push through Season 3 here. And right now, the main thing for them is they just want to continue to grow as a team. They even acknowledge, Kogarashi acknowledge, they've struggled with the team at times. They're hard-headed, and they can stick together through everything. And in the end, what matters to them is to not affect the personal relationships no matter what, and do as well as they can for the team, and to win as many games as they can, and to learn from their losses and grow as players. So definitely looking for Majesty Ruby to make some impacts here in the Discord tier. Now we're going to go to Sugar Rush, a Season 2 team, and that is going to be brought to you by Specs. I'm sure he's excited to bring you this Sugar Rush.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
After
I'm
they
not
kicked
going to
into
lie.
the curb.
I mean, I didn't kick them to the curb. I love everyone on that team. Really solid people. Really love playing with them. Just kind of went separate ways when it came to kind of team chemistry and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But really watching and casting their match last week, I think it's pretty obvious their DPS is there to pop off. With Guac and Lays, with Lays actually playing DPS now. Those two players are fantastic. A really wide hero pool. Both of them can pretty much play anything. And with Hitscan definitely coming back in more, Guac is scary, absolutely scary. Some of the angles she takes is just fantastic, and you're not going to see her coming. Overall with their tank line, I think it's really important to kind of look out for that. It's Light Rose and Kara. They're very solid together. They have some decent cohesion, and as a tank line, it's important to really get that synergy down. So as that grows throughout the season, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do. And then the support line is I Will Deliver in Sidereal, and both of them are also fantastic. Sidereal was a main tank player last year. No, he didn't really enjoy it way too much, but at the end of the day, I think it's important that those two, really stay together and make sure that hero flexibility is there. And again, I can see this team making a pretty good run in the playoffs. I think it's important for them to, really stay level-headed, and as they grow as a team, I can see it happening.
All right, so beyond Sugar Rush here, they snuck into the playoffs at the very end last season. Definitely looking to make us a bigger impact. We actually saw some of that impact in that big reverse sweep on Saturday against Otaku. That was an incredible match. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, you can watch the VOD on both the Twitch channel here, or you can also check out the official YouTube channel. Links are in the Discord in the important links section, as well as below in the Twitch channel description. So feel free to check that out. Make sure if you haven't subscribed to that YouTube page, please do so. Let's pump up that YouTube page. Moving on here, guys. We are now going to team that is, I think a lot of expectations were put on their shoulders early on here, and that is Tough Luck. And Ensal, you were bringing us Tough Luck.
Oh man, yeah, Tough Luck is a new team filled with veteran players. All of the Season 1 and Season 2, I would say all-stars and MVPs. I think a lot of people expect them to go far. One of their, I guess, better assets on the team, or one of their top players, is definitely going to be Rock Jumper. He is such a good main tank. Just having played against him once in that preseason exhibition match was definitely a sight to behold. In terms of, I think, what I feel is their MVP is, I think, Smugs. Smugs has really good leadership, and he's able to kind of, I think, or should be able to keep that team grounded and keep them together. I would say definitely. Sorry, I was just going to say definitely watch out for them. I mean, their preseason showing is not a showing of what they're going to be in the season.
Sandbagging. I love it.
One can say.
All right, moving on now to Harmony and Chaos. That's a team I'm going to bring to you guys. Harmony and Chaos, again, another original Tranquility team. They were the regular season champions last season. They were the best record throughout the regular season, and I don't feel like that was some kind of fluke. There was a lot of people who would look at their roster last season and would be like, they have some really good pieces, but teams like Otaku and teams like Gravity and Solo Cup, they seemed to be in a better spot last season. But then Harmony kept winning, and they just kept winning, and they just kept winning. People were struggling to figure out what it was, but really what it comes down to is excellent execution of heroes that they're talented with. They don't try to deceive people with what they are. They play to their strengths, and they do a really good job of it. Now, this season, Harmony and Chaos has changed. It's not the same team we saw in Season 2. That is for certain. They've made several changes. You're not going to see Garbaggio on that team anymore, for instance. We don't see Dane Club on that team anymore, for instance. Right now, their support line is still the same. That very dangerous support line of Shadowfear and Cavalier from last season. We still see Maxix, one of the best DPS in the community last season. His Sombra is renowned across the community as one of the most dangerous we have here. And then they brought in these pieces, Yves, Formless, and Godsent. Terrifying pieces. I look at Formless as quite possibly an MVP candidate. Based on everything I've heard and seen about Formless, I think we're going to be talking about them by the season's end as one of the top players. But that being said, right now we're looking at this team, and as a whole, I think the person that I think this whole team's success is going to rely on, and probably their most underrated player, is Steve Buscemi. So last season was kind of a breakout season for Steve. Season 1, they were a part of Control, a team that kind of really never got its footing, never really got going. Then Steve Buscemi joined Harmony and Chaos, and suddenly people started regarding him as, hey, this is a really good main tank. But by the end of the season, there was a lot of other main tanks that got more credit than he did. Steve Buscemi, I think, is the linchpin to whether or not Harmony and Chaos has a successful season. It comes down to, for me, whether or not he can continue to lead that squad as well as he led Harmony and Chaos through his last seasons. the last regular season games for Harmony. So it comes down to that for me. I look at Steve Buscemi as a very underappreciated and underrated player, and I expect Harmony and Chaos to once again be that team that everybody wonders, how exactly are they pulling this off? And then they do. And they do. And they do. And they do. And I look at Harmony and Chaos as a real threat this season. So that being said, we're going to move on now to, we got a few more teams in this in the Discord tier, and actually I get the next one too, and that's Team Commit, a brand new team to the community. They are a team entirely pre-created before they joined. Looked to be an open division team beforehand. Got a little bit of details from their captain Ice. You know, Ice made a big point to call out really their team's MVP is, and I'm going to horribly mispronounce this name, but El Baba Yaga. Wow. Yeah, that's a name. But basically their team MVP is their voice in comms, is just main shot caller in before fights, mid fights, after fights, tracks the enemy alts, an incredible Lucio player. And, you know, based on what I'm hearing, you know, obviously I think El Baba Yaga is going to be somebody to really watch out for as a support player, could be an all-star by the end of the season without question. Another player that they talked about now is Exos, and they're an off-tank flex player. They are, again, that's somebody who makes a lot of flashy plays, but they do the right things. You know, they remind, when I think of that kind of player, I think of somebody like Booth or somebody like Panda or Klopsy from last season. You know, players who don't make the big flashy plays, but they're extremely impactful of their team's success. You know, this team's been playing Overwatch together for a few years, and the goal right now is for them is they just want to continue to grow better as a team, and they really want to win. You know, they just finished up GGNA. They had to forfeit in the playoffs, unfortunately, due to some time conflicts. But they really want to redeem themselves. They look at Tranquility community as an opportunity to really show their stuff. And I really do expect big things from Team Commit this season. So that being said, we're going to go now to Prodigious, and that's Specs.
Yeah, you know, piggybacking off of what you were saying there, Yeti, this is another team that has, you know, some really good cohesion. They've met together, you know, IRL, and they some really good friends there that, you know, really want to continuously grow as a team and make sure they're, you know, obtaining results that they can. When it comes to MVP, another name that I'm going to absolutely butcher, it's Juko High. Sorry, bud. But he's another one of the main tanks in this community who looks like he really wants to make an impact. You know, as we've seen in the community in the past, you know, as your main tank goes, your team goes. So kind of as like an unofficial captain and shot caller, his game sense is, you know, really, really solid. That's going to kind of take them to that next level. When it comes to underrated, it's actually Ben. He's one of their off supports and the newest player on the roster. They actually kind of picked him out of solo queue. So, you know, they really want to see what he can do and, you know, really showing the team what he can do as well. You know, at the end of the day, they really want to show the community, you know, how they can improve. And, you know, from the start, they really want to show that they're a dark horse that can really compete for the title at the end.
Prodigious definitely coming in as a dark horse. We can catch Prodigious, by the way, on Wednesday in the preseason tournament semifinals against Meteors. Meteors definitely coming in as a heavy favorite, but Prodigious looks to pull a big upset. And this would be a signature win very early on here in their time in Tranquility community. Don't underestimate Prodigious. I think that's be a foolish thing to do. Now, speaking of teams that shouldn't be underestimated here is Renovadio, and that's Ensol.
Yeah, so with new teams coming into the season, it's hard to really get a gauge of how they're going to do, especially if they're not competing in the preseason tournament. In this case, though, I was able to get a bit of insight on the roster. Players that we should look out for are going to be DC, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, or Progress, who are both big fraggers. Other players to look out for are going to be Sicarius or Waco, again, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Sicarius being a really flexible player and Waco being a great shot caller. It's going to help them, you know, in their goal of winning it this season. And I think that they're also a very flexible team, which can definitely help going back into a 2-2-2 meta.
Yeah, 2-2-2 meta is going to bring some of these teams to the forefront without a doubt. Can't rely on the GOAT anymore. The final Discord tier team is the Frantic Lava Cats, and that's NPC.
So the Frantic Lava Cats, they didn't actually respond to any of our questioning. I think they're playing a little close. I think they're trying to be mysterious on purpose. They're not in the preseason tournament. They've got plenty of players.
Yeah, they were.
They were.
They lost 3-1 to Prodigious.
Okay, they lost. I didn't end up seeing that game then. But they've got plenty of players. They've got 9 players on their roster. I've actually had a chance to play with a couple of them. I think I played with 9volt and Fluffy before. And like Spec said, where your tank goes, you go, and they're a pretty good duo. I really feel like Frantic Lava Cat's got some growing to do, but I think overall they're going to be some contenders. They're not something you need to sleep on just because they lost 3-1 right away. They might have been sandbagging a little bit, something like that. But their team captain and main DPS is Bigfoot. He's pretty good, pops off. On their support lines, I got Hey and Ruby. Those are 2 supports, and they make a really great duo. They've got a really deep roster. I think that's their thing, is they've got 9 players, so they've got a very deep hero pool. So no matter where the meta shifts, I think they're going to be able to adapt fairly well.
Bubbers made a point in chat to say that there is another 9volt that is on Eclipse. There are multiple 9volts in the community. Please make sure this confuses the hell out of all of you, like it will for me.
2 9volts, 2 Yetis.
I know. Well, one is the Ski for Yeti, and the other one is the Yeti. So, yeah, very big difference between the two. So, anyways, that wraps up Discord tier, guys. Let's talk a little bit about predictions for the season. Obviously, it's way too early. We haven't even seen some of these teams yet, but why not just say something fun? Why not just go for it and see what happens? So, we're gonna predict basically the big contenders for the Discord tier champion, and then after that we're also going to pick another thing here, the MVP. So we'll start with the Discord tier champion, and I'm going to start with Ensol.
Oh no,
too bad.
I definitely hadn't put thought into this.
Oh, that's a shame.
If only you had time to prepare.
Yeah, if only I hadn't released the prep list like 3 weeks ago.
Fair point. If I have to put a guess right now, I'm putting my money on my boys Smugs and Kingdom to turn things around from what happened in that preseason tournament. They have a team of all-stars. These players have shown time and time again they can pop off, they can carry games. They have great people coaching them. On's one of them. If you don't know him, he's a player who frequently joins in on pugs. But I think he can help things turn that around and bring them to that top tier play.
I just have to ask really quick, Specs, how many different bottles?
That's what I was going to ask.
How many different bottles have you been taking a drink out of?
So I just moved 2 days ago, so they're all within arm's reach. There's a couple different bottles here.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
Don't mix your liquors, okay?
Yeah, this is Specs is gonna be sick. All right. Anyway, speaking of Specs, give us some. Who do you think?
Yeah, I think Tough Luck is a really good choice. But to me, there's a couple teams here that really have a shot. I think Revenito's a real contender. I'm not gonna get it right all season. I'm just gonna give up now.
I know you're not.
But to me, they look scary. Their roster looks really solid. They have a lot of cohesion. I think it's between them and Meteors, to be completely honest. So.
Wow. Okay. NPC, what do you think?
I picked 2. So I picked a veteran team, and then I picked a new team. All right. My veteran team is going to be the Meteors. I'm gonna follow Specs. I mean, you got HQC and Sam and Marf on the tanks, Holly and Arise on supports, Courage on DPS. This team's going somewhere. They're going up. Meteors typically go down. They're going up. I'm calling it. My new team. My new team is Instalock. I feel like I played with them recently. I filled in for their other feeder, so that it's kind of a wash. And Silent Monkey on that main tank. He makes my off tank look good. And if you can do that, that's a win right there. You got Silent Monkey and then Trash on DPS. He's really lethal. So keep an eye out on Instalock.
Trash play support.
He was playing DPS the other day.
Oh, okay, fair enough. All right, so let's move on then to me, the real ones who are actually contenders this season. I look at 2 teams. My 2 teams that I picked, I might be biased just because I did do some looking into this team. I think Commit is going to be a huge threat to win this season. They have played together for a while. It's one of those things where you have a team that plays together for a long time. They have incredible chemistry. They can almost do things without saying them. And that's a team that's going to be scary. I think Commit is an absolute threat to win. And again, my second favorite team is actually another new team as well. These are the two teams that I think are going to be competing for it all in the end, and that's Renovadio. I think Cream has brought that team in, and they look spooky. Like I can't identify a weak link on Renovadio. I think that team could very easily be one of the best teams, and I'm actually going to make a bold prediction on Meteors here. I'm not going to dab on them and say they're not going to make the playoffs or anything like that, but I think the problem with I think the Meteors are going to end up not making the finals, like a lot of people seem to be predicting them right now. I just don't. The one concern I have with the Meteors is I feel like that the other teams have played longer together than what the Meteors have right now. And I think that time that these other teams have had, same with Tough Luck. I also don't think they're a finals team right now because they don't have that long-term play that teams like Commit and Renovadio have. So those are the teams that I look at as the threats to win it all. So I think Meteors and I do think Tough Luck will be right there at the end of the season, but I don't think they're going to be competing for the championship in the end. So, but that being said, let's move on now to the two players for each caster here who we think are going to be the MVPs of the Discord tier. We're going to start again, Ensol.
Oh man, why does it always have to be me first?
Because I love you.
Aw. I don't know. It's way too early to judge. I can only talk from experience of the players that I definitely know, that I've definitely played against, and that have definitely boomed me in matches previously. Rock Jumper is going to be top 1 tank, top 1 or top 2. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's getting my MVP vote, definitely.
Oh wow! All right, Specs, what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely have a little bit of a predisposition to choosing tanks here. I think Cream's it. From the way he seems like he's, interacting with the team, interacting with the community, how he's coaching and helping coach his Harmony tier team. I think he's a really solid guy that's going to be, a real player in the community that's going to show what he can do.
All right. NPC, what do you think?
Once again, I picked two. My veteran player is Silent Monkey. We talked about main tank being MVP. I think Monkey has what it takes. And my new player, somebody who's around a lot in Pugs, Shadow Devil, DPS from Invictus. I mean, I've seen him pop off. I think he can do it. I think he's going to grow. He's going to be MVP. Bold take.
All right. My MVPs this season, I look at two, and I'm going to go away from tank and away from DPS, and I'm going to go support with my first pick here. And my support pick is actually going to be Arise. For the love of God, stop saying bad things about supports. Arise is probably one of the mechanically most talented players in the community. Just
fair.
Just
for
saying.
Sure. Yep.
Arise is really good. And my second choice for MVP, honestly, is another Meteors player.
Ooh.
I know, right? The other MVP choice for me is Courage. Yeah. I think Courage was easily the most underappreciated player in all of Tranquility last season. Incredible versatility going between off tank, even main tank at times, and DPS. Can play almost any role in the game at an extraordinarily high level. Courage is going to be the one who decides whether, or is going to be the linchpin that determines whether or not Meteors will end up rising above what I said they will. To me, if the Meteors win it all this season, it's Courage, and Courage will be the MVP. So, without a doubt, Courage. I am Courage's #1 fan. Than has been said. So, all right, that's enough about the Discord tier. Let's move on to the other tier, guys, the Harmony tier. And it is not a tier to be overlooked, certainly. We have 16 teams dueling for the Harmony tier championship in season 3, several new teams and a few old teams as well. We're going to start with NPC taking the Jetpack Cats.
Jetpack Cats, probably the friendliest team in the whole community. I
Mhm.
mean, you join their Discord if you haven't already. They got movie nights, they got pet pictures, they got everything. Jetpack cats, wonderful, wonderful people. I think I picked some veteran stars on their team. I think Melts. I think Melts is showing up. I've played against him. I've played with him. He's really showing up. And one of their new players is upsetting. Very upsetting.
Oh no.
I had a chance to play against him. He totally owned us. So they're really good. They've been working to build just the right team. They kind of got a slower start at building the team than some of the other teams in the community that have built since basically season 2 ended.
Right.
But I think they're getting the right pieces together. The late start means they've had less time to practice. But I think they're trying to make sure that everybody is just the right fit personality wise. So they're all going to fit together and play together well.
Jetpack Cats looking to take to the skies in season 3.
Absolutely.
Was that too much?
No, I love it.
Okay, cool. All right. Now we're going to go on to a new team this season that is created by Abe, captain for this team, Spare Change. And looking at Spare Change, I think they got off to, again, a little bit of a slow start initially, just trying to get that team going. And when I first talked to Abe about Spare Change, he really didn't want to identify a single player as like, who's this one player is going to be really stepped up and be the the big stud for the team. And unfortunately, I wasn't going to let him get away with that. So when I look at their team, I look at a player by the name of Junior. Look really good. I mean, they're a really talented player. And another player on their team that kind of stands out to me is Abe himself. Abe is a surprise. I think last season he kind of got overshadowed on a team that had a really talented DPS in Horus, Peter 6G 4G LT, who is off in Grandmaster Land with Ascension. But that being said, with Abe, I do think his McCree is incredibly underrated, and I do think his Genji is actually quite solid as well. I think with him, the team will live and die based on whether or not he is able to get the pop-offs that team needs. Indeed. The motivation for them right now is they really just want to get better as a team, and kind of a team goal they want to get is everybody into Diamond by next season. It's not really Trank related, but that's where they want to get. So we'll see a lot from Spare Change this season. They're going to be featured early on, so we'll definitely be hearing from them as the season rolls here. Next team on the list is Illusion. Dumb team. No, I'm just kidding. Specs, go ahead.
I'm right here, man. I'm right here.
Yeah, so really looking at Illusion, they have a roster full of players that I'll be honest, I'm shocked isn't playing in the Discord tier. Jewis Mitchell, Gecko, Nick Stahl himself, some really, really solid players that, could compete at the Discord tier level. But I think they're a real contender to really take everything this year. When it comes to MVP, Jewis Mitchell, I can't speak. He's a really solid yeah, right. He's a really solid main tank who, showed last year what he could do and, can really, duel out with the best of them. And again, as the main tank goes, the team goes. So I think it's really important to kind of follow that. Going towards, an underrated player, I think it's Gecko. Another player that played on a team that was really, really solid last year that kind of got overshined. So, seeing what he can do for a team and, how he was doing in, the free agent showcase, for example, he's a really solid player that can do a lot. This team seems like they have a lot of fun together as well. So, really having that cohesion and really making sure they're going to be, enjoying themselves from day one is super important to them. And, as far as their goal, I think they're a top 2 team in my opinion. So wow. I can really see them going far.
All right. You have
a bold prediction.
The bold prediction. Specs, you have Careless Pandas next.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about them.
Might as well expose my hand here. This is the team to beat. They're a fantastic team with a fantastic coach that I think can really compete at a high level and, really show, what they're here to do. Just watching them play in the preseason tournament this season, they're a really solid team. With Yeti and Dim Ryan, I think those two are the 2 players to really pop off and to show that, again, as a main tank and as a DPS, you can really, control a team and show, at the end of the day, teamwork's important, yeah, but when you have someone that's going to pop off and click heads, and it's going to be hard to beat. Their comms are really solid, and Hosi, again, another name I'm not going to pronounce right. Sure. His comms are really solid. It seems like his comm structure is kind of what the team is, gearing behind. So having that there is super important. So again, kind of going along with Cream, he's a really solid coach who I think is going to take this team to the next level. And they're one to really look out for this season.
Careless Panda's not so careless about their chances in the Harmony tier. And Saul, you have Karma.
Yeah, that one team. What? I can't really say that after you guys beat us. So it doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work.
I want to make sure.
Okay. You know what? Fair point. What is there to say about Karma? They had a huge shakeup in the roster. What was it, a couple weeks before the preseason tournament?
Yep.
And they came out and they boomed us on King of the Hill maps to the point where we just didn't know what to do. We were banging our heads against the wall. And I think a lot of that comes from Stanky Pants, who is their main tank, and Cryogenics, who probably one of the top three supports in this tier. Landavir, again,
Landvetter.
Thank you. I'll let you pronounce it from now on.
You're welcome.
His hit scan is actually nutty. If we're talking about people who are underrated, he is underrated. Goal, I think everyone wants to win it. Everyone wants to get better. And I think that everyone on the team is very versatile. Yeti, we saw you playing Pharah, and you boomed us on Pharah.
It was fun. I don't get a chance to play DPS. And I don't know if you heard, but there's this thing coming up, MPC. Maybe you could tell us what that is again? Or wait, you don't have a shirt anymore to rip. Shoot.
Goats is coming. Goats coming back.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
I thought he was just like, he tattooed two lock on his chest. All right. That would be commitment to the bit. I will give you that. All right. Next one here is DDoS. And that's with you, NPC.
That is with me. So I talked to DDoS a little bit. They're another veteran. They were the Alt F4 people. The half that didn't go with Alt F4 kind of stayed with DDoS in the Harmony tier. And I got to tell you, I feel like a lot of them could have moved on up to Alt F4. I talked to them about their team leadership and who they're all looking up to, and everybody's looking up to Mix. He's just amazing. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to watch him play, but definitely watch some of his streams.
Mm-hmm.
He's just amazing at support, and he's really bringing that team together. One of their newer people, Drug, just an amazing DPS. I've seen some of the streams briefly, and just he pops off. But I think their main strength right now is their tank line. They got Rubik's and Blue, and they are just aggressive, and they come in and they do not let up. And with the supports behind them, they just come in and they don't die. They don't die. I feel like what they need is another DPS. I feel like they've got Drug and they've got Merc, but I feel like they need some sort of projectile specialist maybe if they want to keep going. But DDoS looking pretty scary.
Mm-hmm. DDoS does look scary. DDoS looks really good. I think they could be a huge threat. Next team here is the meme team that doesn't want to be the meme team. They're a meme team with a dream this season. That is the Fighting Potatoes, arguably the most popular team to ever touch the Tranquility community. And honestly, slightly biased. Good group of people. Fighting Potatoes, again, they're another team that, somebody once asked me going into this season, are Fighting Potatoes really going to try this season? Like, are they really going to put in the effort? I mean, that's a tough thing to say. I know
sandbagging.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they have it in them. Well, I can tell you right now, anybody who's been saying that was wrong last season, and they're definitely wrong this season. Fighting Potatoes have made some significant changes to that roster. They brought in 3 new players, including an incredible main tank by the name of Rigmadon. Rigmadon is going to be one of the top main tanks in the Harmony tier, and that is without question. Brings a leadership quality to that team that they haven't had. Brings a incredible bastion at the front of that line for them who can really guide that team to success. Rigmadon is a very talented main tank, and I think by the end of the season is going to be in conversation for All-Star, MVP, all of those things, and is going to be somebody who brings this team to a plateau that they have yet seen in the Tranquility community. With regards to other players in their teams, obviously we know their support line is incredibly talented with Sneaky Kittens in the core and Captain Wessels. We've seen them all do very well on that line. But in regards to a player that doesn't get talked about a lot, it's probably Shepvik. Their Shepvik's been their lowly silver player for a long time, but their off-tank play has become instrumental to the team's success. They have basically they're basically guaranteed 1 or 2 3 or 4 man diva bombs per match. It's just kind of what they do. They do it well. With regards to this team, they're all real life friends, and they built that team on that foundation. The new rostered players are meshing really well with that team. They have Shortbread, they have Gamstree, and they have Rigmadon. It's a team that just really wants to have fun, but they're really looking forward to showing the community in the end that in season 3, potatoes fry together. Hashtag potatoes fry together.
Oh.
So.
Okay.
Oh.
That doesn't sound like a good thing.
That's brilliant.
No,
That's what it is.
not at all.
That yeah.
It's brilliant is what it is. So. Anyways, we're gonna move on here to the next team, and that is going to be Comets, and that's with Specs.
Yeah, so speaking on good players and teams that have a foundation in the community, I think Comets is one of those teams. Gil, Kitty Baka, two very solid players who I think is they're going to be super important to the way this team goes this season. Gil's kind of switching over to a main tank role, and he won't give himself credit, but playing against him and seeing what his main tank can do, it's very, very solid. So I think they have a really good core there as their tank line. I think those two with him and Kitty Baka, they're going to be very solid. When it comes to underrated players, I think 2 of their new players, Magpie and Idiot Freak, are going to be 2 people to look out for. Overall they have a 6-person roster. It's small, but I think they're going to be, that only means cohesion is going to grow really quickly. I think their goal for the season is, just to, really do the best they can, make playoffs, and I think they have a really good shot at it this season.
Give a shout out to our boy Gilly Suit running that team. Gillimed, season 2 moderator, season 3 moderator. Throw some respect on that name, if you could, please, everyone. Next on the list here, Ensol coming at you with a duo. We'll start out with Gravity first.
Yeah, so Gravity, again, they had a bit of a shakeup with the division into Eclipse. Speaking to their team captain, Mickey Mish, I think it was hard for them to call an MVP because it's so early. And I can understand that. I think that one person that they said stood out is Race, a really strong support player who holds their team together. Underrated player, probably Mickey Mish, probably them. They didn't really give a reason why. I think a lot of things are going to change. A lot of things are going to end up kind of sorting themselves out as they continue to play with each other. In terms of what keeps them together as a team, just being positive, having a good time. They're trying to they feel like right now is very reminiscent of the old Gravity team that they were in last season. And they're also not afraid to mix things up. If things don't work the first time, which is actually a really good thing. Just don't get stuck in your ways.
All right, and then you have another team here by the name of Undead Battery. Tell us a little bit about Undead Battery.
So new player again, new player in the community. Hard again to judge considering we haven't really seen them play too much. I've actually played with their off-tank Climate, who is probably underrated. He was a really good Ana when he was trying out for us. Just didn't work out. But he's a very energetic player. I think it's good to have that on the team. Players who are MVP or who stand out would be Jonavan, who is their flex support. They all have a collaborative distaste for rank, which is what helps them click as a team. I get that, guys.
100%.
And I mean, in terms of goals, again, everyone's going to say the same thing. Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to be number one. Aside from that, they just want to improve their gameplay, which very commendable. I think it's doable for them to kind of be in the top teams. If they really sit down, grind, and improve, it's doable for sure.
All right, moving on now to wrap it up here with the last few teams. Starting off with Maelstrom. That is NPC.
That is me. That is me. So Maelstrom, not only do they have probably one of the coolest logos. I love it.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you haven't seen their animated M, it is some
Throw
really
it
good
in the
stuff.
general chat in Discord if you could, please. Have somebody from
Somebody,
Maelstrom.
yeah, it's amazing. They also have an emote of that if you want to join their Discord. So the big thing with Maelstrom, their thing is loyalty. What makes them click. Everyone on that team, they trust each other, and they have a good time. And I don't think it's one of the few teams. I don't think there's going to be any drama. There's a few teams we just kind of expect drama to happen. This team, I don't think there's going to be much. I don't think there's going to be much at all. Triage is the leader of the team. Everybody loves him. They respect him. It's a great DPS player. And one of their new additions, Ruru, is, I think I'm saying that, Ruru. Just pops off. DPS master level positioning. I feel like once they play together a lot, it'll really help. They've got a lot of pre-decided plays. They've actually got plays like you would see in football with the little X's and the O's, and they're like, okay, you're gonna go around here, you're gonna do this, and they call them out, and they're like, okay, we're gonna go blue 32, and then they all know what to do. It's amazing to watch happen. So I think if they needed to add a person, they would add a backup DPS, because right now they got 3 tank, 3 support, 2 DPS. But I think they're very happy at 8. I feel like 8 is their good magic number. They were going to need an extra player, but I think they've sorted out their attendance issues, and I think they're going to be able to make it to all the games. So I look forward to seeing Maelstrom in the season.
Absolutely. Next team here is Minty Hippos. Team came in early on here, led by Quick, and they do look like a team who is going to make some early impacts here. I had an opportunity to scrim against them. They're certainly not a slouch of a team. That is very clear. They have some really talented players, played together for a decent chunk. Player that stands out to me, obviously Quick, very, very good player. Another player as well is Maxi, is their support. Basically, it seems to be their big brain on the squad. When I look at excellent support players, Maxi is kind of that ideal support, kind of organizing the team, orchestrating the flow of every single engagement, kind of keeping the team all going in one direction. Another player that stands out to me is Taftimus. Their team, after talking to Quick, a little bit of details on them. They've been doing a lot of first-person shooters throughout their gaming career, but they don't have a ton of Overwatch experience, so they're really raw when it comes to gameplay mechanics. But FPS aim tends to carry over at least slightly, and if you're really talented at other FPSs, it can carry over here to Overwatch. So I look for Taftimus to make an impact here. Another team. Another thing that really stands out to me is these guys just really want to grow as a team together. They really want to have fun. You get a real team vibe from them. Like, they are really tight knit. They really want to push together and really move things forward. They really want to strive to execute each play, each fight in each game. They're extremely competitive, and they expect to win everything they play in, but at the same time, their main goal is to continue to grow. They want to play in the Discord tier next season, for instance, so they're continuing to try to get better as a team. So in the end, their philosophy is the sum is greater than its parts. And as a team, if they can make that sum big enough, they're going to be it's going to be a pretty large hippo at the end of the season. In the
Quick note about the Hippos. They're all IRL friends of mine. I meet up with them regularly here in Dallas at the Dallas Fuel Games, and they've been playing like Halo since high school together. So they're a good group of friends, and that's kind of what helps them build that team.
Very cool. Love those little things, those little fun things. Might be a team of people that if you're in the Dallas area, maybe a International Tranquility meetup day might be in the future.
QuakeCon this weekend.
Oh, there you go. That too.
Come get some NPC emote stickers.
Oh, nice.
Solid sticker.
Solid. NPC, speaking of you, we're going to go back to you, and you have Overtime.
I have Overtime. So Overtime also did not respond to any of our queries. We asked him a little bit. Now, here's the thing. They have exactly 6 players. So they may be looking to pick up a couple more. So if you're looking for a team in the Harmony tier, reach out to Billy Goat. It's spelled a little weird, but you'll find it in the Harmony recruiting section. So they have exactly 6 players, but they are ready for the lock because they have 2, 2, and 2. So that's the good news. So They got Billy Goat. He's their tank, and Jax. And then they've also got on DPS, they got Moto and Kronos, which is Storm D and Kronos. And then they've got 2 supports, Hell and Heliopause. So I think I haven't seen a lot out of them yet, but they're playing it close. They might surprise us. That's what I think they're planning on doing. Sandbagging.
You and sandbag.
I like sandbagging.
You do love your sandbagging, don't you? Carries on from last season. Specs, you were going to bring us the Holy Jalapenos.
First of all, great name, fantastic name, fantastic logo. Real big fan of that.
Yep.
Looking at this team, couple old faces that really solid in the community. I think the Mallard and Bethcon obviously are going to be 2 very important players. When it comes to MVP, I think the Mallard's going to be it. He's very hard to tilt. He's a very solid player. He takes things seriously, but at the same time doesn't stress out too much about it. And I think that's going to be very important for the team's success this year. I think Torb only, who's actually a main tank, is going to be a player to watch out for. Again, I'm going to preach main tanks being successful for a team to be successful. So I think that's another position to kind of look out for. This team is really solid communication. It kind of reminds me of Solo Cup from season 2 a little bit. Strong their comms are going to be strong. So I think that's important for them. And then, at the end of the day, they seem to be, emphasize winning, but at the same point, want to be a team that has fun, that really enjoys and grows together. So I think, this team is going to be successful. Also, Spooderman's their coach, so that helps.
Yeah. All right, moving on here now to the next team on the list, and that is the Pacified Pythons, and that is Ensol.
So I tried to reach out to, I believe, their GM P Psycho. I just got a response actually a couple minutes ago. Not too in depth, but they were telling me to look out for players Randomly and Angry, the former being their MVP of the team, and the latter being the most underrated player on the team. Again, it's a new team, new players, new faces, so it's hard to tell how they're going to do. They want to, of course, flex on every other team, be the top of the table, like everyone else in this team. One thing to note is they can. I've been told that they can pack quite a bite, despite their name being the Pacified Pythons.
I like it.
And the last, but certainly not least team here is Vitamin C, and that's with NPC.
So Vitamin C, I've talked to them a little bit. I feel like their strength is their DPS. They have a lot of players that can play a lot of DPS heroes. Pardue, not sure. DPS, very in-game leader. Everybody looks up to him. Everybody respects him. That's just, he's their shot caller in the game. Surfy is a main tank. Surfy played in the free agent showcase and really showed off really good stuff. I feel like Normac is their current off tank. Great diva, fantastic diva, but they really need another off tank, I think, to really kind of balance that out. But Vitamin C is currently looking for a new head coach. If they're looking for somebody, with some coaching experience, it can come in and kind of help out from the Discord tier. So that's what we're looking forward to.
All right, so Discord, that's the end of the Harmony tier previews here, guys. We do want to talk about who we think is going to be the Harmony tier champion for Season 3. And we will start with Ensol.
Champion. All right. I didn't do it with Invictus. I'm gonna do it with Illusion. You heard it here first. It's happening.
Okay.
But outside of the memes, I think Karma is gonna do really good. What?
Wow, I'll take it. Oh. I'm not turning that down.
I would love a rematch, not just in this season, but in the finals. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen, Yeti.
I mean, here's the thing, and I'm saying this because Gecko was trash talking at the beginning of the season here. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this out right now, just because I feel like it's a necessary thing to do in the season preview podcast. Illusion's not making the playoffs.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
All right, moving on. Specs, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think this tier's a little bit more top heavy. I think the Careless Pandas are going to take it in the end. Just seeing their preseason performance and the backbone of that team, that structure, I think it's really solid. I think Illusion and Karma are two teams to also look out for. And then I think DDoS is getting slept on a little bit. So there's a couple teams here that can really contest for it.
NPC, go ahead.
All right, so I picked my veteran team, DDoS. I feel like they've just got a balanced roster. They're a veteran team. They know what they're doing, and they've got lots of leadership coming from Alta 4 above in the Discord tier. Everybody in that Alta 4 Discord is willing to help out. It's one of the few teams that actually has one Discord for both tiers of the community, as opposed to two teams with two separate Discords. So I feel like the support that they're going to get from the Discord tier is going to come down to the Harmony tier and really going to help that team. So I feel like they're going to be my veteran team candidate, and my newcomer team is Vitamin C. I just got done talking about them, but they got a lot of DPS, and now that you're forced to have two on every team, they're gonna have the flexibility to do that. So we're gonna see what happens.
My two teams that I'm looking at for threats in the Harmony tier, I think my top team by far right now is Careless Pandas. I think Careless Pandas could go 15-0. They're that good. They are that good. Yeah, they're and my second team is another team, is a veteran team in the community, and that's the Careless Pandas. They're my favorite this season, and they're still my favorite. And the reason why I'm calling them a veteran team is because they're going to show everyone that they are their daddies this season. And I think by far Careless Pandas are the biggest threat in the Harmony tier, and I don't think it's close. But in reality, the other team that I pick in Harmony tier, and I think it's a team that a lot of people maybe aren't thinking is going to be a big threat, but it's a team that I'm going to pick nonetheless, and that's going to be Maelstrom. I think Maelstrom is a far better team than what Liquid Nova was last season. I look at specifically the leadership of Triage and Crispy on that team. I think that team could be a big-time sneaky sleeper team here, and these two teams actually take each other on Wednesday in the preseason tournament. So it could be a preview of what's to come here within the Harmony tier. So that being said, we're going to move on now from our champion predictions, and we're going to instead predict the MVP for the Harmony tier teams. And we'll start now with Ensal.
Man, I can't pick one. I think I have a top three. I think NPC, you talked about Normac being on Vitamin C, and how they're going to need another off tank. He played for us for up until 1 week before the preseason. He is a top quality player. Main tank, off tank, he plays them all. He plays them all at a really good level, and he can flex the DPS too, which doesn't hurt. Nice. Normac is definitely in my top three. And then the other two that I have are going to be Landavir. Yeti, can you chime in on this one? Yeah, thank you.
Better.
Thank you. Don't sleep on him. His hit scan, his DPS play is insane. And my other one is Triage. Really good DPS, real good leadership. Definitely a candidate for MVP.
Specs.
Yeah, so I also have two. I really wanted to go with a new player to the community and an old one, but to be honest, these two players really stood out to me, way too much. I think it's Mixready and Gil. Him switching over to main tank is very, very solid. I don't think he gives himself enough credit. Played against him a little bit, and I think his Ryan, assuming that stays kind of meta, his Reinhardt is very, very solid, and I think he can really win some team fights for Comets when it comes down to it. And then Mix on Lucio is scary. Some of the boops, some of the angles that he's able to take is really, really solid. And to be honest, I was surprised that he didn't move up to the Discord tier. So I think he's going to be able to pop off and show what he can do.
NPC.
All right. I also went with two. I went with the veteran player, and I picked Melts. I played against him recently. I played with him recently. I know he has a reputation of being a Genji one trick. Every time I mention him, they're like, "Oh, Genji, right? Yeah." No. He's taken the off season to expand his hero pool. He's been working with the cats. He's got more heroes than he knows what to do with now. He's getting close to Masters if he's not already there. I feel like he's going to make a huge impact on the season. So I feel like it might be Melts. And as far as a new player goes, I'm thinking Yeti. Not this one, the other one. The good one. the good one.
Oh.
And
Oh.
and he's just so aggressive on that.
Thanks
main
for
tank.
watching, everyone.
Experience tranquility.
Yeah, so I think Yeti maybe runner up.
Well, I was going to say nice things about NPC, but no. For me, I'm conflicted because I'm obviously huge fans of the players that I have on Karma. And Smugs keeps saying it in chat, so I'm going to voice it here. Splinter? He's basically our baby Smugs. Just saying. And then the other two that I was going to talk about real quick, again, kind of old and new faces. Old face is Triage. I think Maelstrom's success is very contingent on how well Triage plays this season. And I think if Triage does have the success that I expect him to, I think people will be definitely considering him for an MVP by the end of the season. And then the next player, again, a new player, is Dim Ryan. Dim Ryan from the Careless Pandas. We have seen Dim Ryan playing in the first match, the kickoff match for the Tranquility Community's preseason tournament. And if you haven't had a chance to watch the VOD Gravity, Dim Ryan is stupid good. He reminds me a lot of somebody like Peter 6G. I could see them easily being the top DPS in Harmony. Probably would be one of the better DPS in Discord tier, to be quite honest with you. So I look to him as a massive threat this season, somebody who could really be a Harmony tier MVP. So guys, we previewed the two tiers. It took a long time. There's a lot of things to talk about now, guys. We're changing the podcast format up a little bit this season. We'll be doing a little bit more, a little less focus on match recaps, more just kind of recapping team stuff throughout. Kind of the plan is we're going to do about 4 matches for an actual full recap, and the rest we'll kind of go over real quick in like little 30-second snips, just trying to talk about as much as we can so we can get onto the really fun stuff that we like talking about, where we get to banter and dab and say stupid things about teams and people that may or may not hate us after we say them. It's basically part of what we do here. If I didn't get frequent angry messages after a podcast, quite frankly, I think I failed. So, but we do want to talk about some things that have changed in season 3. A little bit more of a, let's face it, kind of a, we need to go over these things. Let's be real here, guys. All right, so first thing to talk about is some new rules for season 3. So first thing that stands out, instead of 8 o'clock Eastern time, the standard start time is now 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. This was done to help out our friends on the West Coast just a little bit without alienating the East Coasters too much. This is a necessary change to help out the West Coast just a little bit. So 8:30 Eastern time is the standard start time for the typical Wednesday matches, and also for the Tuesday and Sunday features. Speaking on that note, we have 2 feature matches per day or per week now. We have a Sunday match, which is the feature, and Tuesday kickoff match for each week. So Tuesday will be the first match of the week, and Sunday will be the final match for that week. The 2 feature matches per week, guys. Should be a lot of fun to see that. And then the next thing is the map order is predetermined. It is Control, Assault, Hybrid, Escort. It goes in that order, guys. Again, that's Koth, 2CP, Hybrid, Payload, for those of you who don't know what those words mean. This is done just to maintain some competitive consistency, make sure that there is a fair, consistent map pool throughout every single match that we play, guys. So those are the 4 maps in order. If there is a need for a 5th map, there will be, again, a Control map. The map order will be released by Cavalier on a weekly basis. I know there was some stuff that was talked about in the suggestions Discord tier or Discord tab, still being talked about amongst admins. If something changes, we'll certainly let everybody know. The next thing here, another slide about new rules. Season 3, a new rule: the kill cams will be off. That is a requirement for every match. Kill cams will no longer be on for Tranquility Community matches. Plays of the week are now no longer a thing. Reason I'm getting rid of plays of the week is, quite frankly, you all are selfish, greedy bastards. Yeah, no, primarily that. No, I don't want to do the plays of the week anymore because it ended up causing more drama than I really thought it was worth. It was fun, but I really don't want to do it anymore because people were too angry at me. With that being said, we're going to be replacing it with a weekly clip montage. If you want to submit clips from the Tranquility Community matches, we'll have a channel where you can submit those clips. We'll play it during the podcast, feature you guys in there. Everybody gets a fair shake on the montage. So if you submit something, we'll feature it regardless. Unless it's literally just you standing there, then we're not going to feature it. Just be smart, don't be dumb. So yeah, the amount of messages I got, as Gios just said, saying, "Wow, Yeti, you didn't pick my clip." I hate all of you. And the last but certainly not least thing is the 222 luck will be starting in our community on August 13th. That is the day the patch is expected to drop based on the blog that was initially released. And that is the day that also the competitive beta season that is going on, the live servers, not the beta server, or not the PTR, the live servers, is starting. So we wanted to be in line with that. We also wanted to keep the competitive season of Tranquility Community as consistent as possible. So there will be 2 more weeks of GOATs potential or triple DPS, one last ride for those comps guys, and then we'll go to straight up 222. So that is the big features here, guys. And then a couple of quick reminders here as well. If you are in a Tranquility Community match, use the Tranquility Community Discord. That is not an option, that is a requirement. Because if you are not currently active in play, you need to be muted in Discord. That includes coaches. You can unmute yourself in between maps, in between points. If it's 2CP, you can unmute yourself between each point. If it's payload, you can unmute yourself between attacks and defense. That's fine, but you need to be muted during live play. That is the one rule here, guys. Please do that. It's important. It's really hard for us to police it actively. So it's very much an on your honor system. If we do catch people breaking it, it's not something we want to punish, but we will. And it will result in map losses or straight up match losses, depending on the severity of the situation. We take it seriously here, guys. To keep everything fun and fair, we need to do that. So make that very clear to everyone. The next thing, or the final thing again, and we talked about this before, is 2 feature matches a week, guys. It's amazing, and I know you 3 are excited about it. I hope you guys are all excited too, because it is going to be incredible. We're really excited to continue to expand the Tranquility Community brand and continue to expand the outreach that this community does. We're looking forward to hopefully being Twitch partners this season. It's going to be huge for everyone to have such a big footprint of Tranquility Community content. That will mean we have 3 straight days during the season of community content: the feature match, podcast, and the kickoff match for the next week, all in a row. Not to mention the fact that we're going to have tournaments run throughout the season. Speaking of which, I know I'm talking a lot here, but we'll have one more thing to talk about before we're done here. And the last thing here is the first feature matches. I don't know if you guys do, but we have this thing starting in like 10 days. What was that, MPC? That was weird.
He's excited.
Like,
I got the shivers.
He did. The first feature matches are coming at you guys. The kickoff match for the Tranquility Community, I'm excited for it, is Comets versus Vitamin C. That is on Tuesday, 7:30 at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And then Otaku, the Season 2 champs, take on Renovadio. And again, I'm going to air that one more time because that was really fast. Is on Sunday, August 4th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So guys, make sure to tune in. Those are going to be amazing matches produced by Tranquility Community. Good way to kick off Season 3 here, guys. And Week 1 will be kicked off with that Comets and Vitamin C match. Should be a ton of fun. Again,
oh yeah,
that is coming right around the corner. And for 2 more things, guys, I know I'm talking a lot. Preseason Tournament finals are going to be coming at you on Sunday. We will have the Harmony tier finals at 7 p.m. Eastern time. The Discord tier finals will be at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have both on the same day. Be sure to tune in. Should be a lot of fun. Good way to start and kick off Season 3. And last but not least, because I've been talking way too damn much, is the Widow 1v1 tournament. The Widow 1v1 tournament signups will be opened up this week. Everybody, please make sure to tune into announcements. We'll be releasing that once that happens. The one thing we are doing a little bit differently this season is only 1 representative per team. Otherwise, it would be ridiculous. One representative per team. Each team can decide how they want to do that. I will be posting a sign-up sheet I'll be posting a sign-up sheet at some point again this week. That Widow 1v1 tournament will be an upcoming date that is going to be on August 15th. That will be featured. So August 15th will be the Widow 1v1 tournament. So be sure to be ready for that one. We're going to be broadcasting as much of it as we can. We look forward to showing that to you guys. So again, one person per team, and Discord tier and Harmony tier will be separated. And then at the end, the Discord tier and Harmony tier will battle in a Widow duel to end all Widow duels. So it'll be a lot of fun for that, guys. And on that note, I've talked for a long time. You guys have anything you want to chime in with here, Ensal? Season 3 excitement?
I'm gonna sign up for the Widow 1v1. I'm gonna sign up. I'm not on the team, but I hope I have a spot.
Oh yeah, you have to be an active player to sign up.
Yikes.
Somebody sign me, please, and then bench me immediately.
Hey, NPC, we're looking for a player. You want to join?
Yeah, perfect.
Let's do it.
Is there a particular match any of you guys are looking forward to that stands out this season? Just what teams can you not wait to see duel each other?
Oh man,
I know that's a tough question. There's so many good teams.
Oh god.
Can I just chime in and say Careless Pandas versus Vitamin C? I think could be a legitimately amazing match.
I was gonna say, like, I'm excited to see how Vitamin C does in the season. We scrimmed them I think once or twice, and they're just so good. And I think the addition of Normac on that team now, losing him was huge. Was a huge loss for us, and him going to Vitamin C is just a huge pickup for them, and that's just gonna boost their team so much.
Specs, any thoughts?
I mean, how in depth do we want to go here? We might
Sugar
as well.
Rush versus Instalock.
4-0. So if we're going to just start off with bold predictions, I might as well throw one out there. Tough Luck won't be a top 4 team. So
you forgot to dab.
That's a bold move.
The dab was implied.
Implied dab. Wow. All right. NPC.
I kind of want to see matches between teams that have just been underrated season after season. Jetpack Cats and Fighting Potatoes, for example. You know, teams that people aren't like, oh my gosh, it's so scary, but they really are. I mean, they're really putting forth effort. They're building good teams, and I feel like seeing them play together is gonna turn a lot of heads, and it's gonna change a lot of people's minds.
We're going to have a very short podcast for you next week where we wrap the Tranquility Community's preseason tournament and provide you with our week 1 predictions. So be sure to tune in next Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, guys. We will bring that next podcast to you. Looking forward to having the full squad for that. But for Ensal, Specs, and NPC, I'm Ski Free Yeti. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. We look forward to a fantastic Season 3. Thank you all, and we will see you next time.
Experience tranquility.